Oh, the recording was not started. Okay, that's fine. So if I go to my profile here, no, this is not. Yeah. So here I listed different technologies, right? The people who are desperately looking for a job and they are not finding a job, it's really hard. Sitting at home, you can learn some technology. For example, Toad. For example, Microsoft SQL Server. You are sitting at home, and what you can do is you can download this MySQL. It is free, available online, and do some kind of play with it. Write some queries, create a database, create some tables, play with it, and you can add that on this monster.com, naukri.com, wherever it is. So what happens is, if you go above here somewhere, my profile, right? Where is it? Somewhere it is going to specify in the beginning we saw, right? Okay, resume and cover letters. Okay. If you see here, my profile was last updated in 2017. Employers are calling me, that is different, but if you see this last modified date is too old, there is a possibility people are not going to contact you. What they see is this guy is not even updating his profile for last 3 years, which means he don't really need a job. So what you have to do is go to that profile and add some new technology. So there are two advantages of adding that new technology. Number one, your resume will show in the top. When they are searching, they search, for example, they are searching Java. They see 5,000 results. Which one they have to see first? What they do is sort by last updated date, right? For example, someone is searching for Java with SQL Server, Java with Angular. They found like 239 results. Which one they have to see first? What they do is last modified date, latest updated. So if you are looking for a job for last 3 months and you never updated your profile goes somewhere down the line in second or third page in the search results, right? I'm not a recruiter, I don't have access to this monster, but the recruiters who have access to this monster.com, they can practically show you where your resume is in the list of those search results. So if you want your resume to be showing at the top of the search results, you have to have some update in your resume, adding some keyword, modifying some sentence online. So what generally people do, go here and add some technology in the list of technologies, right? Don't add a random technology. Add technology which is relevant to your experience, relevant to your career, and the job requirements will have those technologies, and it is going to match, and potentially you are going to receive a call. So the people who are sitting at home looking for a job, especially freshers, learn something new and keep adding here. That way you have two advantages. One thing, you are learning some new technology, and the second thing is it is matching the job requirement. And the third thing is when they are searching on these job portals, your resume comes up first in the list because it is last updated recently, right? Keep updating your profile and applying online. Two ways people can apply online. One online application is you will go to a company website. For example, Boeing is hiring mechanical engineers. Boeing is hiring design engineers, and you are one of the design engineer. You will go to Boeing's website and you will apply for the job. That is one way of applying. The other way of applying the job is you will go to linkedin.com, monster.com, naukri.com, any of these job portals, and you will say, you will search for the jobs. I will give you an example here. Master Java jobs here, right? Yeah, this page was popping up for so long. So what I did is I went here and say Java, and now he is showing Java Hadoop engineer, Java lead engineer, right? Junior Java engineer. I have a lot of experience. I'm not going to apply for this junior Java engineer. I can apply for lead developer or architect, right? But people who are junior, don't try to apply for this lead developer. You are not going to get a phone call anyway. But you are a junior, then you should apply for this junior Java engineer job. So what you do is you go here and somewhere apply at employer side. So when you apply from here, it goes to the employer, and if they like your profile and if they like your experience, then you will definitely get a call or email, right? Applying online and by references. So I worked in so many companies, and in every company I have my previous colleagues. If I am looking for a job, what I can simply do is I will send a WhatsApp message or SMS message or an email to my friend saying that, oh, I'm looking for a job. My job ended recently or going to end near next 3 months or 1 month or one week. And if you have any openings in your company, let me know. Previously, I was showing my manager, John Kurian. So he might be working in some company, and I can say, Kurian, I'm looking for a job. Let me know if in your company there is an opening or any of your co-managers in your company might be hiring. So that is how the references will work. And the best thing anyone can do is getting a job through reference, because monster.com or any of these company websites, they will receive hundreds or thousands of resume. Which one is genuine, they don't know. But if it is going through reference, you can simply get the job. One resume, one interview, done. That's it. Because the people who are submitting your resume, they say, oh, I know this person. Oh, he worked with me. He's my colleague. He's my relative. He's professional. He's good. I know him personally. He was my college mate. He was my classmate. So references are really important. As long as if you have some reference, use it. If you don't have, that is fine. But if you have it, that is the best way you can get the job. The other forum, there are job forums like CGC, who's going to have so many jobs published in your WhatsApp groups and emails. These days, emails are less. Here in US, there is an organization called ALMPG, almpg.com. There you can go and register and you can apply. If you are in US, use ALMPG. If you are in India, you can use CGC. There you have a lot of jobs coming up, and you can also apply for jobs. You can say, I'm looking for a job. My profile is so and so. My experience is so and so. So many years of experience I have. So many technologies I do know, right? Social media. Social media is people might be applying through making connections through social media like Facebook, or you might have a WhatsApp groups for jobs, and LinkedIn, as I was mentioning just now. The LinkedIn is a good resource for you to make connections through your previous colleagues, previous managers, and also the recruiters. A lot of recruiters are looking for connections in the area where they are working. For example, someone is working on a Java requirement, they will send you a connection request. Once you connected, going forward, whenever they have any Java opening, they are going to contact you. So that is social media and LinkedIn. And emails. I have written my name there because I have shown you my inbox. Each day I'm going to get so many requirements. So in India also, you might have some of your friends who are working in Java. They will get a lot of emails. Make connections with them. Ask them if they receive job requirements. Ask them to send it to you. It's not a big deal for them. They are not going to lose anything. They are not going to lose anything if they forward that particular job requirement to you coming to them. They are receiving those job requirements because they have a lot of experience. They work in some company and they have a lot of keywords. So whenever they get a job requirement, What they do is they just forward that email to you, and you can contact that particular recruiter or employer and say, so and so person forwarded an email, and it seems you are hiring for this particular position, and I do have qualification and experience and skills. I'm interested. Can you let me know if you are interested to hire me? And this is my resume. Here you go. Right? I'm going through some questions here. Contact number. Contact number I have given in my slides at the end. I'm going to type here one more time my contact number. So everyone got my contact number. Would be good after each session to ask question. Yes, you can
What about
definitely ask.
the freshers, those who are freshers?
What was it? Someone is saying something?
Actually, some students have a fresher. What they do, they do not have any experience.
Good question. And definitely it's a, uh, what I can say is people have a lot of depression because when they apply for a job as a fresher, hardly they will receive any response. And that is true here in US and also in India. There are two ways people can deal with it. The best thing is I always advise, you can also advise your juniors. People who are in third year of engineering, or you are just before completing whatever the degree you are doing, like MBA or MCA or BTech or MTech, whatever the degree it is, before you get the certification itself, you start looking for a job. Like 3 months before, or 1 month before, or 6 months before. And some colleges will have campus interviews. Try to attempt those campus interviews, because getting a job after coming out of the college will become difficult, and also you will have a lot of social tension. What happens is you will go somewhere in the market and someone will say, oh, did you complete your engineering? Yeah. What are you doing? Nothing. So it is going to add a pressure on your head, right? You will be under extreme pressure from your parents. Parents say, oh, you completed the engineering, you completed the masters, you completed so and so certifications, you took a lot of money from me, and you are getting no jobs, you are earning nothing. So it's going to add a lot of pressure. If you don't want such a pressure, advising you and your juniors, you can go back and advise your juniors before they complete their engineering or whatever the degree they are in, they should look for a job. The best thing is the campus interview if it is there. If it is not there, they should do some kind of a training, certification, and keep floating in the market saying that I am looking for a job. Because if you complete your degree, for example, 2019 you completed, in 2020 you are looking for a job, there are two problems here. Problem number one is whenever you go to company, they'll ask, for last 1 year, what did you do? You did nothing, just roaming around, and you have forgotten whatever you have studied in your college. Number one. Number two, what happens is you will have 2020 batch students competing with you. They are also freshers, you are all a fresher. For example, you completed your degree and you have completed with 69% of the marks in 2019. And there is another guy who completed in 2020 and he got 89% of the marks. Who the employer is going to choose? You or him? You completed with less number of marks 1 year ago and did nothing, looking for a job. No one is hiring you. And there is another fresher, brighter fresher than you, and he is also looking for a job. So employers prefer him, not you, because he is just a fresher. His knowledge is still fresh, coming out of the college, and he have better grades than you. So people who are freshers, they should get earliest possible whatever the job they can get. Even if it is a teaching job in a college, teaching job in a coaching center, you are doing the online coaching, freelance, do something, but don't sit idle. That is really important for freshers. After 2 or 3 years, for example, someone passed in 2017, 2018, even in 2020, they are not getting any job. It is really tough for them. So what they do, I'm not advising, but what they do is they will say in some company they worked and they have given some company name and some experience. Important point is, first of all, you are giving a false information, which I'm not advising, but you have no other option. That's why you are doing it. But when you go for interview, you have to have some kind of a backup. The backup is, you say I worked in so and so project, right? You should be in a position to explain what is that project, what functionality that project is trying to achieve. For example, railway reservation system. So people are going to go to online and they will enter their information. They will create a profile. They will save their address. They will share their phone number. They will email address, and they will use some credit card or bank account information to book the railway tickets. You should be in a position to explain when you go for an interview, even if it is a fake resume, fake experience, you did not really work on it, but you are claiming, right? You should be in a position to explain as if you did it, right? And the second thing is, when you are mentioning that I used A, B, C, D technology, you should be in a position to explain you did use those technologies. And you, as I said, if you are fresher and you are sitting at home doing nothing, learn some new technology. When you have so many technologies in your resume, somewhere you will get a job, because that technology is rare find. People are trying to hire with that a person with that particular technology, and they are not finding. So what they do is, okay, even if it is a fake experience, even if you are lying, it's okay, come join, we are going to take you, because I'm not finding person with that particular technology, right? So that is important. What else if my colleagues don't have a LinkedIn profile? Ask them to create a LinkedIn profile, because it is useful for them also, right? You cannot convince all of them, but you just have to contact them. For example, there are 15, 20, 100 people in your office. You can convince 2 or 3 people, right? Not all of them. And you don't have to be connected to all the 100 people working in your company. Even if you are connected 2 or 5 people, that's enough. Execution department, you don't right. Yeah, most of the IT people will have these LinkedIn profiles, but other people rarely they want to have this kind of profile on LinkedIn. Connect with CGC. Yeah. 60 to 90 seconds read will be done for resume, keeping in mind short, simple, better will have impact. Yeah. So number of pages, it's again a controversial subject. I am okay with any resume, 2 page or 4 page or 6 page or 8 pages. I'm 100% sure no one is going to read it, but my resume is going to give them a chance to use this Control F keyword. When they say Control F and search for some technology, somewhere they will find it. That's why I'm not going to reduce number of pages just because people don't like it. That is different. I have a lot of experience. Maybe people are giving me an opportunity to work, but if you think your resume has to be shorter, that is fine, definitely. I'm mechanical engineering final year student. That's good. I'm happy to see you here in this session. Jobs requirements for jobs mechanical engineers are much less in India. I did my mechanical engineering from 1997, 23 years ago. At that time, I faced the exact same problem. Mechanical engineering jobs were really rare to find, and I applied for many companies and I did not find it. Finally, I switched to IT. So if mechanical engineering jobs are less, you can change your career into like AutoCAD based career or computer based designing career, because you have to adapt some new technology to become yourself saleable in the market, right? If you go to Raitu Bazaar, or you go to some market, for example, you are buying sheep, what you do, you look for the best in the market, right? So you have to become yourself best in the market, in the job market, so that someone is going to pick your resume and give you a job. So that is important. And the second thing is, you have to do some kind of a training like automated machining training, because I am from mechanical engineering, I can give you some tips here. Automated machining, computer-based machining, computer-based manufacturing, computer-aided manufacturing, computer-aided design, CAD. These are the different technologies people can learn apart from their college education. Because college education, everyone have college education, college degree. It might be very good college, it might be very bad college. The college might have some labs, some facilities, some professors, no professors. But your extra technologies, whatever you learn outside your college, are going to build your resume, build your profile, make you as a hireable, saleable. Your resume will be saleable, right? Due to poor economic and GDP growth, also industry get affected current disasters. Yes, I have my mechanical engineering classmates in India. They are struggling. Struggling means they are in the company, they are in the job, but they have a problem. Their company might fire them because they are not making enough cars, enough scooters, whatever the industry they are in. So that is the problem. But best thing is, if you can change your career, for example, you become a AI expert or IT expert, that is an option if you are not finding the job in your domain. But if you are finding, you can stay there. What you worked on your recent sprint? Oh, you answer, yeah. So people who don't have an experience, they have a fake resume and they are going for an interview. They are able to get to an interview because they have a brighter resume, but it's a fake resume. They don't have an experience. So recent sprint in last 15 days, last 1 month, what did you work in your company? That is the important question and relevant question for your job interview. So if you are fake, what you can do is, you have your resume and you are saying my company is going to work in a automobile industry, for example. You are developing a software for a Bajaj corporation, right? Otherwise a Honda corporation. So what you can say is, in last sprint we were working on enhancing a screen where my software, whatever I'm working, because you have a resume and you have specified recent my project was in a Honda company. So in Honda company, I worked on a project on sales side. So we have enhanced our application to search for newly added vehicle. Otherwise, we have added enhancement in my application to add a new module where we are going to show upcoming vehicles in my company, right? So you have to make up some story because you don't have experience, but you have to justify what you are talking. So it's really hard, but that's how it is. Is that the declaration mandatory for Indian resume? Hereby declare something. In olden days, what people used to do is, they used to print the resume, go in person, and in the bottom they used to say, hereby declare that everything, whatever is written is correct, and then sign in the bottom. These days, we are writing a resume online and we are sending it by email. So it's not really important to write. If you write it, that is fine. It's your personal choice. But I'm thinking, my hunch is, no employer is looking for that section anymore. I have completed my hotel management and I want to start my career at BPO. So what is the good answer to say interviewer about this changing the field? So hotel management you worked in and you are trying to get into BPO. So the best thing you can say is, after learning 2 or 4 years or whatever the degree in hotel management, I realized that hotel management is going to give me an opportunity to work in a hospitality industry. Hotel management is nothing but a hospitality industry. In hospitality industry, people have to have very good communications, saleable communications. So I am trying to become a BPO employee to improve my communication skills, and going forward I'm willing to work in hospitality industry where BPO experience is used. So that is one way of telling. But if you say this sentence one time, they might say, oh, you are here to just gain some experience and leave. So you can say, I'm going to have this job as my bread and butter, as long as you are going to keep me. And I'm really interested in this particular field, BPO field, because I heard a lot about this. So you have to cook up some story to justify why you are sitting in an interview of a BPO after completing the hotel management as your primary background. One thing. Second thing is, I suggest personally, hospitality industry is a booming industry going forward, especially in India. So try to stay there. But I'm not sure whether there are no jobs or less jobs, but there must be some jobs. I went on a cruise long ago and I met a lot of Indians working on a cruise. Cruise is one best place to start your career because freshers, it is really hard to get a job, and a lot of people with huge experience, they're not really interested to stay away from home 3 months or 6 months. Cruise lines are going to run like 6 months. You will be away from your home. You will be sailing on water, and no one is going to talk to you. You and your colleagues are the only family you have. You cannot go and do some shopping. You cannot go watch a movie. There is no social life, nothing. But for a fresher, that is the best place to start a job. After working 2 or 3 years or 5 years or something in a cruise line, you can come back and join some other job. And it's a hospitality industry, and definitely hotel management kind of a people are really experienced, required for these cruise liners. All right. So right now the time is, what is the time? Should we continue or we'll continue tomorrow? It's almost 1:45 here. Let me go to next slide and see what we have here. Okay. So next slide, I'm going to talk about the pre-screening. So everyone okay to continue, or we will stop here and continue tomorrow? Okay. Hotel management, how effective is knowing the career ladder?
I think we can take questions if audience have. Otherwise, we'll continue tomorrow because
Okay.
I think this is going to take time.
Yeah.
We have hardly
Because,
10 minutes.
yeah. I don't want to make it like a boring session. That's why I'm asking.
No, it is the useful session. Thank you.
Okay.
So, participant, like if you have any further question, we can take that couple of question and then we'll continue tomorrow again same time 4 p.m. IST.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Tomorrow I'm going to talk about anything other than resume, like pre-screening, screening, interviews, and all those things. How effective knowing is a career ladder is. When the interviewer asks, where do you see yourself in 2 to 5 years? The interesting question, and someone said, if you answer that question saying that I'm going to see myself in your seat, you'll say you are going to replace me. So that's a good question. Career ladder is nothing but you are joining as a junior developer. For example, I'm a Java developer, so I always talk about from my perspective what I have seen in my career. So they are trying to gauge your interest in the job. So if you are really good at your job, you're interested in the job, once you join, you really want to work hard. That is the thing they are expecting from you when they are asking this question. You can say in next 2 to 5 years, I'm expecting to become a senior developer. If you're already senior developer, you can say I'm willing to become a lead. If you're already lead, I'm expecting some kind of a principal developer or something, subject matter expert or something like that, right? So if you give an answer which is satisfying for that particular interviewer, that is good. And there are some interviewers who are nasty. They won't be satisfied no matter what you say. That is okay. We are not here to satisfy anyone and everyone. We have to be reasonable when we are giving the answers in an interview, right? So when they say 2 to 5 years, you can simply give one rank higher than your rank. Junior developer to developer, developer to senior developer, senior to lead or principal. From there, you can say, I want to become an architect or manager or something. You should have some kind of a knowledge about the ladder, but you're not going to expect 2 or 4 steps jumping at a time, right? So immediate one step you should know based on where you are. how to improve communication skills. Definitely we can talk about this tomorrow one more time, but I'm going to give a short answer. Last week, someone took a communication skills session. I attended that from, no, I did not attend. I was watching online in YouTube. He gave very good tips to improve the communication skills. And in that session, people were asking one important question. Everyone was talking about the slang. We Indians, we have our own way of pronouncing an English language. Our mother tongue is not English language. So even if you have some kind of a slang, for example, we Indians use R. It's really hard R. Similarly, we'll use the T. T is little for example, Tom, we'll say Tom. So in British English, the accent is different. In American English, the accent is different. In Gulf and Russian side, the accent is different because in their language, they don't have some keyword. For example, they say Toyota, not Toyota, right? So you don't have to change yourself just because you are going globally or just because you are going to attend an interview in English language. You are going to join a job where the environment is English-based environment. People are going to attend the meeting in English only. They are going to write emails in English only. So improving communication skills doesn't really mean you have to change your slang. That is really important. That thing I am trying to emphasize here, because last meeting, whatever the CGC conducted, people had a lot of worries and concerns about their slang. And the second thing is, you have to remember, you don't try to manipulate the entire language itself when it comes to communication skills. I'll give an example. Many of the times in India, when people say, what is your name? They don't say, what is your name? They say, what is your good name? Aapka Shubh Naam. Because we come from a Hindi background, Urdu background in India, a lot of people say, what Aapka Shubh Naam? There is no Shubh Naam in English language. Shubh Naam is limited only to Hindi language. So don't try to translate that into English and say, what is your good name? There is no good name, there is no bad name. Every name is just a name. When you are talking to people in English, just say, what is your name? That's it. You don't have to say, what is your good name? I'm giving you some examples, some tips in English language here. Generally, people say, why because? So, why because is not part of English language grammar. Why, comma, then because, that is perfect. So you write a sentence, somewhere it ends with why, then you will add a comma. Comma means there is a pause. Then you say because. But in Indian English speakers, many of the people say why because. The reason why they are saying why because is, in their native language, there is a keyword called kyunki. The kyunki is a word of Hindi and Urdu which is getting translated into why because. So there is no word called why because in English language. There is no why because in English grammar. So we just have to keep some kind of attention within our communication when we are talking in English language. We are not native English speakers. My mother, my father is not from English background. So we are learning this language for our profession, to get a job, to work in a company, to work globally, to interact with customers or clients over the world. That is the whole purpose of learning English language. What actually happens is, human brain, I'm giving some scientific background about it. Human brain thinks all your sentences in your native language. So your brain is so sophisticated, it can work like 5 times faster than what you are speaking. So what actually happens is, your sentences, your thoughts will be formed in your brain. Then you will translate them into English language. That's where we have a problem. When we think it's a good name, when we think it's a Shubh Naam, we'll translate that into good name. Why? Because it's the same thing. And other thing, what actually happens is, we, the non-English speakers, the non-native English speakers, our mother tongue is not English. what generally we do is we think we are not fluent enough. There are two reasons. Number one is we don't have a lot of vocabulary because we are not native English speakers. Our mother tongue is not English, so we don't have a lot of vocabulary. So because we don't have a lot of vocabulary, we think we are not fluent. So for example, I am trying to say, how was your day? When you are sitting in a casual talk in a canteen, in a cafe, in a dinner table, or in a meeting, if you are not able to find the next sentence, your brain is not pumping it, it's okay to pause there. I have attended a lot of meetings, seminars, and presentations presented by native English speakers, and they stop somewhere. If they cannot collect their thoughts, they will stop somewhere. Giving a 5 to 10 seconds of pause is okay. But we, the non-native English speakers, what we do is we will add some fillers in between to continue our conversation. For example, a lot of people, if you observe, they say so, okay, 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 okay. These are the fillers. They are trying to continue the conversation without adding any seconds of a pause. They are going to add these kind of a keywords like okay or so or something. These keywords are bad habit. It becomes a habit over the time and you cannot change yourself, and no one is going to criticize you. Today you are a junior, tomorrow you will become senior, after some time you will become a manager, but that habit is not going to leave you. So when you are junior, try to practice English language without adding any fillers like okay or so or whatever, because, right? If you don't add those fillers right now when you are a junior, you are not going to add when you become senior. And same thing about writing. When you are writing an email or writing something, make sure you write it and read one more time. The important difference between writing and communicating by voice, you cannot go back and change your voice. You are in a meeting and you have uttered something which is nonsense, you cannot go back and change it. But you are writing an email, you are writing a IM communication, internal messaging communication within the company. Before you hit that send button, read one more time, right? These days in WhatsApp, if you are making a message, if you think somewhere you have added a wrong keyword or missed an important keyword, you can delete and modify one more time. Even after send, you read it one more time, make sure it really makes sense whatever you have written. If it doesn't make sense, delete it, right? So communication skills is really important part of any job these days because of the global atmosphere of the world. Whole world is like a one village and you are going to interact with any of the people over the world. So communication skills is going to play a vital role. And many of the times people think communication skills means only reading and writing. No, big no. Communication skills, the important part of communication skills is listening. There is a difference between hearing and listening. Hearing is you can hear any noise. Some refrigerator is working in your home, you are hearing the noises. You are not going to comprehend those noises. You are not going to understand anything out of it, right? Someone is making a drill, bore drill close to your home. You are hearing those noises, nonsense. It is going to disturb your day, but you are not going to comprehend anything. So if you are listening something which you are not going to comprehend, that is listening. That is hearing. Listening means you are hearing plus comprehending, listening plus understanding, listening and grasping. If you are not grasping, then you are not listening. You are just sitting there, just doing nothing, right? I am talking in my home right now. In front of me, there is a computer, there is a mouse. Everyone is hearing, but they cannot comprehend. You understand the difference between listening and hearing. So listening is really important skill of communication skills. So people who really trying to improve their communication skills start trying to listen. When you listen something, you have to come back and say, okay, I have listened like 15 minutes. I should be able to write at least 2 to 4 paragraphs out of it. If I am doing that, I am listening. If I am not doing that, I am just hearing it. I did not comprehend anything. I did not understand anything. I make out nothing out of it, right? So communication skills is important. And in last session, whoever they presented, they gave very good tips like reading the newspapers, reading the online blogs, channels, and interacting with people on WhatsApp and other social media channels, using the language like English language, because generally when we say communications is English language communication skills. So communication skills is a really important vital part. You are trying to exchange your thoughts with the other person, so other person should be able to understand, otherwise you're wasting your time, right? So listening is one. So you can watch movies, you can watch news. That is one way of listening, improving the listening skills. The other thing is you can read books or read magazines, read online newspapers, sports, whatever. That is the other way of improving the reading skills. And to talk to people, whenever you meet someone, your friends, try to talk to them. They're definitely going to mock you and they say, oh, bada Angrez ban gaya hai aajkal. That's okay. Who cares? What we care about is we are trying to improve our own communication skills. No matter who comments in negative way, you just ignore and move on. Because if you ignore them today, after 5 or 10 years, they will come back and say, oh, this guy became manager in his company, but I was not able to become a manager because I was ignoring and mocking people, right? So improve your listening skills, writing skills, and speaking skills. All three important. Looks like I am taking another session on communication skills. Professional companies for electrical engineer. My understanding is if you go to these CGC groups, they are posting lot of jobs in CGC groups, and some of the jobs are related to electrical engineering also. One other way of finding electrical engineering jobs is looking through the job newspapers. There are so many jobs published in the newspapers. These days you are getting the PDF in WhatsApp, and also you can search on job portals. And you can also look for electrical companies. For example, Vijaya Electronics, there is a company close to Hyderabad. I don't know about other places, but one of the companies, Vijaya Electronics, close to Hyderabad. So whenever you find some electrical company and apply for a job, and if you are interested, you can go to foreign countries. That is another option. And in Telangana or any of these states, they have a government jobs in electrical department. That also you can prepare and aspire for. Link to recorded video. Looks like they started recording after a long time, but definitely CGC is going to share the link. The points which are collected will be okay. Recorded. Manufacturer and maintenance don't have many vacancies. I know, yeah. These days, electrical and mechanical jobs are less. I can definitely understand. That's where I am coming from. I am one of the mechanical engineers long ago. Yeah, I already mentioned about communication skills. Vocabulary thing is, if you are reading the newspapers, you just don't go like what you say, like a computer is also reading the newspaper, right? So slowly read. Somewhere you will encounter a new keyword. When you encounter a new keyword, new phrase, new word, new letter, what you should do is you should remember and try to use that keyword when you are typing a WhatsApp message, when you are talking to people over the phone. So unless you use those words, those keywords, those phrases, you will not be able to master yourself. And one important point is, for every word there are synonyms, right? Same meaning will be same, the word is different. So try to practice those things, and that is really helpful for you in your communication. When you're talking to people, you need different choice of words, right? Any professional company for electrical engineer, I already told about that. Last meeting link on community here. Yeah, that's the link, YouTube link. How effective improve profile on LinkedIn. LinkedIn profile you can improve only over the years. You worked in a company A, you have the company A, company B, company C. That's how you will build your LinkedIn profile. And other things you will mention on the LinkedIn are which college did you go to and what kind of activities did you do in the college, what kind of awards and certifications you got in the college. And the other thing you can get on LinkedIn is connecting to people and following the companies, connecting with the recruiters. What other things you will do is you can, if you are working in a company, you can ask your colleague or your boss to add a recommendation. They can add a recommendation. They say so and so person is working with me and I'm really happy about his work. He's really dedicated person, hardworking, results oriented. I have seen him. Whatever they want, they can write. Otherwise, you can give some text if they want to write your text. So that's how you will improve your LinkedIn profile. Yeah, other languages depends on which country you are aiming for. If you are going towards European countries, you better learn German, French, or those things. If you are trying to go to Gulf countries, you better learn Arabic language. If you are going towards Spanish countries, you should learn Spanish language. So if you are planning to learn additional language, that is the best way. And I was talking to you over about the cruise lines. If you are willing to go into cruise line, hotel industry, hospitality industry, additional languages are really helpful. They definitely hire people with multiple languages because you are going to interact with the clients in different language. For example, you are working in a hotel based out of Qatar or Dubai. You should be able to have some kind of a communication skills in English and Arabic both. If you are going to work in a hotel, for example, Spain, you need to learn the Spanish and English both, two languages, right? So you have to know in which country you are trying to look for your career. That's how you have to add multiple languages to your profile. Trained Angular developer passed in 18 and still jobless. Yeah, it's really hard to see these kind of things. Angular was really hard around 2 to 4 years ago. These days it is there, but they might not be hiring the freshers. What you can do is you can build some website sitting at home and host yourself. There are so many hosting companies which are going to host it for free or at least minimum like $5, $10 per month, per $5, $10 per year, something like that. And you can book some domain like sajidindia.com, indiasajid.com, angulardeveloperindia.com, something like that. You can develop a domain and you can present yourself, who you are, what kind of skills you have, what kind of experience you have, what kind of creativity you have, because in terms of UI, the creativity is really important. How best you are using your screen size. So you have a smartphone, you have a tablet, you have a desktop computer. So you have to utilize that real estate best way possible, and you can demonstrate you can do the best job than others in the industry. And in your resume you can say, I do have an experience of working for this particular website. This website is developed by only me. There are no other developers worked in this. So if you think this looks good, give me a chance to talk to you. We can discuss over the interview, right? Virus situation, IT industry. One thing I learned recently is it seems a lot of the companies are planning to reduce their building space. So someone has like 4,000 square feet of building space. Instead of 4,000, they are trying to make it 1,000, so that all the people are going to work from home. So you should have a good laptop, good internet connection, and separate place for you to work peacefully without any noises. So that is the expectation going forward. But jobs will be there. There are jobs. There will be the jobs. So job market is going to be there, but looks like the model is going to change, because now industries have understood they can still be productive by eliminating the real estate space, the office space. They don't have to have a big office with hundreds of cubes. Instead of that, they can have like 10, 15 cubes, and if there are any critical issues, people can come to office and discuss and do some meetings and then leave. And also the companies can hire people from wherever they want. If the company is in Hyderabad, they can hire from Mumbai, Delhi, different places. People sit wherever they want to sit, and they can still work for the company in Hyderabad. So that is the change I'm expecting, definitely, because companies have learned they can save a lot of money by closing the companies and reducing the size of the company, square feet of the company. All right. Okay. So let's stop here and we can continue the interview thing tomorrow onwards. Tomorrow only. There is only tomorrow's session. There are only 2 sessions, right? So we will continue tomorrow with pre-screening, screening, and types of interviews and different typical questions in the interviews. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Fasibai, for your time. Thank you everyone for your time, for listening and asking questions, being interactive. We appreciate everyone, and as Fasibai told, tomorrow same time 4 p.m. IST, and we'll continue for the next topic, that is interview tips. Thank you all. Have a good day.
How this link will be shared with participants?